Under this car cover here is a 1968 Pontiac Firebird. Hasn't been on the road in about 10 years, and it's known to have, it's got some issues. I'm gonna try to get this thing running and drive it over 700 miles from eastern Michigan all the way back to Minnesota in the dead of winter, probably snow, definitely freezing rain. And I also just realized I have to get it running because I just traded my car for that. Perfect. Before I get too far here, I want to say thanks to Joe and Vicky. This is their shop here, and this was their Firebird. Awfully kind folks for letting me wrench in here. And another thank you to Joe, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. He's out working for our amazing Air Force, so thanks for your service and what you do for our country. Let's get this cover off, take a gander around it, hook our peepers into it, see what we've got going on. Then I got to get wrenching quick. Not only is the sun going down in a few hours and it's going to get a lot colder, but there's another snowstorm moving in, and I'd sure like to be on the highway before that hits. I have no idea what a 68 Firebird is like in a snowstorm, but I'm guessing it's not ideal. It's shiny. I'm scared. Not quite sure how to approach it. If you just get in there or if you just kind of wander around. Man, it looks to be in really good shape. What really intrigued me about this car is it came from Nevada, I believe. Arizona, one of the two. And it's supposedly 319% rust-free. Never had any patches or anything like that, which is huge for me. Because, you know, I'm up there in the Rust Belt. Nice color. It's kind of a, I don't know how to explain colors. It's blue. And then there's some sort of maroonish, off red stripage going on here. Some sort of aftermarket hood. Ooh, hood pins. That's 24 horsepower EA or each. It looks to be pretty well all here. Maybe some lens covers. I noticed a piece of windshield chrome missing. Wipers are gone. I do have boxes of parts here that go with it. Vicky was nice enough to go dig and find all of this stuff. Ooh, is this crushed velvet? It is. Nice. No rear door panels. Maybe they're in the boxes. This is that southern, you can definitely tell it's a South car. Arizona, Nevada, the dashes and everything just get absolutely cooked. Before we go digging too far, guys always got to start in the trunk. It tells you the whole story. Let's dig in there and see if we find anything good. Am I gonna fit back here? I am. I've got 86 keys. That's nice. Should be one of these roundy rounds. Negative. Negative. Well, what is going on? Negative. This looks like a mailbox key. That's it. You're gonna like this. We got Rob Zombie Edge and mouse droppings. And that is pretty much it, which is exciting. You don't want to see intake gaskets or a water pump or head gaskets or anything like that. This should hopefully mean that everything is on the engine and she's ready to go. I am going to listen to this on the way home. Do we have a radio? Probably not. I don't know. This thing might be, it's too shiny for me. Might have to run some SOS pads down it or something. Maybe shoot some primer around the wheel wells. Let's dive into the captain's lounge here. See what we got going on. Door panels are in excellent shape. This is a factory model here. It's called Rot, you know, and wasn't very popular, but some people dug it. I wonder, That might be a new door. I'm seeing black down here. You get them from like AMD or actually pretty much anywhere. Doors and door shells come in black. So that might have been replaced. We'll decode it later maybe if we have time. This interior, I'm leaving that be. Got a racing steering wheel. That's good. Ooh, got some skullage. So you know the shift kit's in the transmission. No radio. Fuel gauge might work. That's a plus. Oh, look at this. Down here, you see it's got the little pedal. So, it's gone, but this used to be a 4-speed, I would assume. Yep, so this used to be a 4-speed car, which is great, because I'm going to put one back in it immediately. Headliner's gone, also great. That's not down in the teeth. Don't have to delete on that. And looks like they might have had an issue getting in the trunk already. Seats kind of up, hanging out. Brake lines. Speedo cable. So I'm going to say the speedometer doesn't work. Got lift or lowering blocks. Depends on how you affix them, I guess. Ooh, we do have radioage. Look at this. What do we got? What is it? What kind? What's the flavor? Dura brand. Keeping that right up my alley. Got the old removable faceplate. Throw this down the Levi's, and then supposedly your deck doesn't get stolen. Bunch of paperwork. I'm not going to show any of that. What is this? Front light harness. Gonna guess the headlights don't work. Not sure why. Pretty standard issue. What I like is the dash isn't all cut up, other than for the stereo, but they don't have gauges buried in here anywhere. Center console's in a pretty decent shape. And I'm not seeing any weight reduction yet, which is fantastic. Usually feel up in the lips here. That's all metal. Pretty great. Lots of spider webs from sitting. So they got this car about 10 years ago on the nose, and through deployments and everything else, you know, life gets busy. They parked it, and then I think she said they moved twice. So this car has moved from south and made its way up here to Michigan, and it's just been sitting under the car cover basically. But you could tell they care about it. There's a battery tender on it. That's a multi-angle. See, when you speed up and they start flopping, it extends your field of vision there. That's custom, probably oak. Ah, definitely pine. Still like it. I don't know, this is a solid car. Paint's kind of got a flake in it. All the tires are aired up. Front ones are going low, but not too bad. Let's get the power barn open and see how many horses we got in there. Those usually don't come out that easy. Oh yeah. We're off to a great start. And it does have a battery. I'll be dipped. I was wondering if we were going to see a BOP engine in here, some sort of Buick Olds or Pontiac, but that's definitely a chubby small block. And she's got some go fast parts on it. Headers, Edelbrock intake, carburetor. Looks like we even got the clear lightning whirler. Some big old lightning hoses. I mean, you could water the garden with them things. Brand new charging whirler. Belt's pretty cracked up. That's just from sitting. Digital fans on here, just saw that. Got a Napa battery. It's got, have to look closer at this. Uh-oh. We got some red down here. What's that mean? Oh, it's got Willwood disc brakes on the front. I'll be dipped. What we got under here then? Look at that. Got all sorts of suspension parts on the front. No idea what any of that means or does, but looks really nice. We'll get behind the block here. I'll get the digits off of that and we'll run her, see what kind of small block she is. I'm sure it's probably just a 350. See a Fram down there. Got to change that immediately. Oh, look at the angle of the belt on the power steering. I don't think that's gonna last. She's got a custom bracketry on here, you know. If we get her running, I might just snip that off. Chances are that's just gonna go flying anyway. Got some mouse nest stuff in there. Oh no. Is that what I think it is? Oh, give me a minute, guys. This could be really bad. Hold on. Had to get some more light on it to confirm. And if you see that little chunk of brass down there, that is the entire freeze plug popped out of the engine, laying on the inside of the motor mount. And that, my friends, equals potentially pulling this engine a foot or two out of the car to put that freeze plug back in it. Really common, easy mistake to make. You move a car from down south up north. A lot of times they're just running straight water. And when they freeze up, they push those plugs out. And the other thing we got to worry about is the block cracked. And does the head have any cracks in it now as well? But that's going to be quite a bit of work. I might be able to strip this side of the engine down, try to lift it just enough to get that plate off, and then put a temp fix in there, but most likely we're going to have to lift this whole thing up out of the car. Great. The other thing I noticed down there is a transmission pan. Looks like murder she wrote under the car. So we got something going on with the transmission as well. Could just be a pan gasket, hopefully. I wonder if we take a peek in here if there's even anything left. So I can see in there slightly, and it's 100% water. So let's pull the old dipstick, see what the Earl tells us, if we got any water in that. Very black. Oil needs change for sure. I don't see any water in here, and I taste a ton of gas, so probably flooded. Well, it could be a few things. Flooded trying to start it, could be a bad fuel pump, a few different reasons for that. The least likely, but it is an indicator, if the engine's tired and worn out and the rings aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, you can also get fuel down at the crankcase that way too. And being there's no water in the oil doesn't mean we're safe of not having a cracked head or block. Since it hasn't ran, nothing's been circulated, so I don't know. I think at this point, I should just see if this thing even runs. Let's see if it fires up. And if it does, then I'll go through the headache of trying to get that freeze plug fixed. Then we'll move on to transmission. Does it actually move? And last and least, brakes. Those are just a convenience. I think where a guy's going to start on this here rig is I'm going to pull a sparkulator out, jam a borescope in there. Let's just take a peek at the cylinder walls, see if we can identify any issues or if it's healthy looking. And then we'll move on to fuel. I'm going to snip this line off here. That goes to the tank. We'll get it off of the pump. And I got a little digital pump, and we'll just bring it out here into a jerry can. I just want to see the color of the fuel, sniff on it a little bit, bring it into the wind bags. See if we're getting any chunks. If it looks halfway decent, we'll plug that back in. I got a few gallons of fresh gas. We'll throw that in there. Sparkulator, won't you come on out now? It is getting fairly cold in here, I'm going to be honest. Pretty excited overall, to be honest. I've owned a lot of first-gen Camaros, never a first-gen Firebird, so this is going to be a lot of fun. This thing is richer than Oprah. Moses sandals. The fuel in the crankcase is definitely a rich fuel make it happener issue. Look at this sparkulator. That's exactly what you're going to see when they're running really rich. I don't have an Edelbrock tune-up kit with me, but I might be able to, I think they keep them on the shelf at O'Reilly's. And it's definitely not just an idle circuit issue, and it's going to run not gooder-ish the way that she's dialed in. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Hopefully the cylinder walls aren't all washed. So I'll get a bore scope in there now and we'll take a peek. I'm going to end up moving to a different cylinder here because this one's on the top. But we can see, I don't know if you guys can, but the top of the piston is very carboned up. Those two scratches are from my camera lightly scratching the top. So they're very, very dirty. Little Berryman's Talion tune-up would do this thing good. Stock style piston in there with the valve reliefs. I did see some writing back here, so I'm curious, maybe I can get a better view on a different hole. But usually if they're 30 over or anything like that, you're gonna have, it'll say 30 over or some sort of part number and 30 over on top of the piston. And I'm wondering if that isn't what I was glancing at there. So I'm gonna move over to a piston that should be down, if I could figure out where it's at in the firing order here quick, and then we'll take a better look. Well, it's not horrible. I do still see some cross hatching, and I know you guys can't probably see this, but then there's some really nasty vertical scratches as well. I mean, it's not bad, but this would definitely be a candidate to pull out, do a quick dingle ball hone, throw some rings in it fast. It's gonna probably run just fine. So let's move on and rig up a little fuel system here, pull some of the fuel out of the tank, see what that looks like. And hopefully we'll have this thing turning over here in a few minutes. As I was getting this dialed in, started looking at some other stuff and drinking it in more. And this here means a very long cold ride home. Southern car, you just tear all this stuff out, snip them off, plug this stuff up. Another 9 horsepower, you know. I didn't see any parts of a heater core in the box or anything like that, so we're gonna have to keep that in mind, how to live on the way home. Anyway, got this pumpulator rigged in here. I think this one is ground, we'll find out. And we're just gonna pump it, oh, it's already gravity feeding. Pump her down into here, see what that fuel looks like, and make a decision if I've got to drain the whole tank out, then refill, or if we're lucky, we could just splash some fresh fuel in there, shake the car around, and maybe it'll run off of that. Probably not. The biggest thing is I don't want to be sucking chunks and things like that up in here, because then I'm going to have to be replacing a bunch of filters on the way home and stuff like that. Speaking of filters, we got to get rid of this one here. These leak and cause more fires than ex-wives, so we want to get this off. This is the spin-on kind. And what happens is your engine vibrates and they slowly shake loose, and then these start dripping fuel and kaboof, you got fire. All right, let's see what a guy can get out of there. Oh, deck stain. Yeah, that doesn't look very good. Let's see if it clears up. Sometimes the line will hold a bunch of varnish in it, and then it'll clear up a little bit. Ricola! Well, I didn't see any chunks coming out, so that's good. But the gas is definitely bad. So we're going to pretend that I didn't do that. You know, we didn't see the condition of the fuel. And let's just plug her back in and see if it'll run off of it. Plan. Remember, fellers, great things happen when you cut corners. It's angry. Snip that off. Just snag it back on down here. Okay, yep. There we go. It just smells not good. Keep ignoring. Keep ignoring. I don't think we're going to have any issue getting lightning out of this. This is about snazzed up as you can get. It looks complete, so. And once I hear it fire, then I'll feel comfortable enough putting 942 hours labor in it, getting that freeze plug fixed. Speaking of smells, the interior on this one isn't that bad. It's grain bin with a hint of shoe closet. It's actually pretty pleasant. Well, let's start digging in here and get a closer look. 75-mile long stud on here. Put that where I'll lose it. Yep. 1405, so that should be a little 600 CFM. Yeah, it's for sure a little 600 Manuel choke, and you can clearly see she's been flooded more than my basement. It's got to be just jetted wrong. There's no reason it should be running that rich. Got the nice bracketry over here. They actually hooked up the kick down. That's pretty rare. A lot of folks just let this lay or don't even hook it up. Even got the fancy little bolt caps on there. This is all intact. I missed this. The green wire here off the lightning whirler says we got a tack somewhere in here. How did I miss that? Where is it? I don't even know. Oh, it's way down here. Yeah, so she's got a rip'em gauge. That's good. We'll see if we could bend that needle off. Normally I scoot underneath these and hook my Lone Wolf 6000 trigger up so I could just crank them out here. This one's in a diaper bag, so I'm not getting to the starter very easy. I'm just going to turn it over by key because again, I'm just looking to hear it fire off just for a couple seconds. That's good enough for me. Then we'll jump into this freeze plug. I got my battery charger that doesn't work hooked up and just on full sing. That's where you boil them overnight, you know. So I'm going to jump in and just start cranking on it. There should be fuel to the pump already, so it should only take maybe 10 seconds till we get fuel to the fuel make it happener. And then I'll start pumping on it and see if we can get it to fire. Well, ignition works, starter works. Off to a good start. And we've got some deck stain in the filter now. That's good. So I'm gonna shoot some brake cleaner or carb cleaner down here, whichever one I can find first and is easiest to grab. And then we'll see if it cranks over, get this thing filled up with fuel and see if it fires. I'm gonna give it just a touch of motivation here. There we go. Suppose the guy should address this first. And then we'll see if we got squirter action, what's going on up there. Found this one on the bottom of my toolbox, so I'm sure it's plenty good. Definitely better than that one. Whoa, okay. So this is a great example of what I was talking about earlier, fellers. These fuel filters, get them out, go get it out of your vehicle right now. There we go. Now the squirters are working. Let's try it again. I've got a hunch I'm gonna try. About like that. Yes. I'm not sure what kind of mufflers the old girl's got on it, but sounds pretty good. I had my ear meter turned all the way on when she was just sputtering there trying to start, and believe you me, no, yeah, I've heard that noise before. So I came in here with the old timing tool and gave her about 4 degrees initial timing, and she popped right off. So now that I've heard it run, let's start digging in. We're not going to get anywhere without this freeze plug popped out. And the other thing I started thinking about too is I got to look at the other ones fairly close. There's a couple I can't get to, but I'm going to use my probe here and look at the other one behind the motor mount, and then the other 2 as well on the side, which I could just look through the headers and see those. Oh, this is not going to be fun. So this would be the captain side rear. And that one looks firmly seated. I don't see any evidence of anything leaking around the perimeter. Usually it gets scaly and algae and I don't know, some other science stuff. So that one looks good. So I'll move over to the drinker side and take a closer look at this side over here. So this would be the drinker side front behind the engine mount. Kind of a weird angle, but that one is firmly seated. Again, I don't see any evidence of it leaking, which is great. That's going to give me the confidence to first try lift the engine like this, kind of, you know, up like that. And if I can get my meat mitts down in there good enough to get the 3 bolts off of the clamshell part of the mount, get that out of the way, then I might be able to fit one of them rubber expandable biscuit plugger uppy freeze plugger later 200s in there, and that lathered in silicone might be good enough to get a guy home. It's like I say, I'm planning on pulling all of this out anyway because I want to put the 4-speed back in it. So I just need it to work for 700 miles. Even if it dripped, fine, we'll carry water, you know. So the next step is sparkulators, hoses out of the way. Got to get rid of this header, so I suppose I'll get her up in the air, scooch. Got to unbolt the collector, hopefully. Those will snap off. Get that out of the way, and then we can start wrestling with the dang old mount. I got updates over here. Got the boom tubes off. Now you can see that Wi-Fi freeze plug a little bit better. So I think if a guy has a plan, I got these chains attached up here, and I don't need these accessory holes. So if I snap these bolts off, I'll just move down to these. Basically, I'll hook a cherry picker onto this, and I'm going to try to lift this just high enough. I've already got the top 2 bolts out on this mount. I need to get the one on the bottom, which is hidden down here up over this clamshell looking unit, my bobber Jiggy 300. And hopefully I can get this just high enough, or maybe I could sneak in from below and get that bolt out, and then I can just get enough separation in there. And if that fails, then we're moving on to full export mode, which is undo the other side, get the lightning whirler off, and really get this thing up in the air. Trying to avoid that because I don't want to take the drive shaft off and all that stuff. By the way, I was down here taking the exhaust off. We got full drag race mode pipes. I don't know what them are, 2.5, 3 inch. And
I think them are them fancy Floor Masters back here. Them are pretty fancy. We got new springs. I mean, rear sway bar. There's some goodies on this thing I haven't even really gotten to yet. Got some chocolators up there. Braided hoses. Gearbox has been put in it. So quite a few parts on this thing. All right, let's give this a shot. I'm gonna go and take everything I can until the transmission hits the tunnel there. It's probably only about 2 inches, but got a lift off. Oh, I think we got plenty of room. There we go. So I got a lot more out of here than I thought I was gonna get. Looks like maybe 2 inches, 2 1/4. I'm gonna try to block this up or jam some wood in here or something so I don't have my hand under this. If the old China freight fails on me, I don't want this, you know, it'll bite you, and that's that. But the great news is if I can MacGyver that bottom bolt out, we're in business. I can easily get the old one out and get that new one in there. 62 days later, got it out, and that was a bugger because this is cracked or broken. So the rubber has settled and it was sitting right on this bolt. So the socket wouldn't go over it. I was able to come in from underneath on there, crack it loose, and then I just kept rocking this back and forth, stick my finger in, loosen it, hold the bolt, stick my finger in, and eventually got it out. Felt like it was 2 miles long, but it's just a regular old one. Definitely not putting that back in would really be no point since this needs to be repaired. And now we have clear access to this bugger right here. Lots of rust, junk falling out. You can see the other plug down there. I'll grab it real quick. I'm gonna get you down in here so you fellers can see. It's not horrible, but she's pitted enough down there that she might give us a leak. Maybe, sorta. And then back here is that other one, and she looks plenty fine. We'll just completely ignore that. So I'm gonna start off by spinning this here through there. If I can angle her in there right, probably not. Keep hitting her with the sandpaper. And then I got a couple different flavors of cheek poker. Gonna spin them in there, you know, see what happens. Probably nothing. Okay. Got this hone on here. Gonna see if I can whirl her around a little bit. Oh, I can definitely smell the rust. It's right in my teeth. So it's doing something. Let's take a look, see if we made any improvement. Oh yeah. Already looking a little better. In fact, I think that's probably plenty good. I'll still run the cheek poker through there just for a second. It'll make me feel good for spending the money on this at least. And we'll just jam her on in there. Well, that was really the ticket. Look at that now. Brand spanking new. So if you find yourself in the jam here, skip the sandpaper, just go get this cheap little 1.5" coarse whirly woo. Couple boop, 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 boop. She's ready to go. Thought maybe I'd show on you guys this quick in case you never seen one. Nice to know in case of an emergency, but basically the concept is you just flop this in the block, and as you tighten down this nut here, it squeezes these two washers together and the rubber expands. You want this flush and all the way in the block because basically you're creating a lip on the inside so the fluids can't get out. Normally if the block is really coarse and pitted up, I do put some RTV or something around this, Permatex, but I got her pretty clean on this one, and these do say install and dry, but let's be honest, I don't think anyone does. But I'm going to try this time and see if it works. So I'm just going to put this in there, give her 6, 15 ooga doogas, And that should do. Haven't decided if I'm gonna let her hang like this, fire it up, circulate some coolant, see if we get a leak, or if I'm gonna put it all back together and just cross my fingers. I'll probably put it all back together and just cross my fingers so it leaks again, and then I have to take it all apart because, you know, that's way more fun. Guys should probably, you know, test on that before you put all this back together. So I did the right thing and just put it all back together. If you're wondering from earlier why I didn't run it any longer than I did, one, I didn't want the headers just piping hot because I had to get in here on the exhaust. And two, I'm gonna guess that the transmission was empty, being there was 71 gallons of ATF on the ground, and I didn't want to burn the pump out. But I'm gonna finish torculating these down, and I think we're getting pretty close to where I can fill this thing up, see if we have any leaks. But I will have to probably address this transmission leak before I run this any longer. And I'm thinking it's just a pan gasket, hopefully. I haven't really looked too close under there. Guy has to assume that's what it is, so I got a filter kit. We'll throw a filter in it at the same time. But this is coming along pretty good, and I think I got just enough room in there. If that is dripping, I can get a wrench in there and just pin its ears back a little bit more if I need to. This, eventually, I'm gonna have to address how this power steering pump is kitty-wampus in here. I'm pretty amazed that this belt hasn't come off yet. It gets tough because this bracket is for the original manifolds, which are, you know, this thick. Guy probably could make a standout in here with some hollow pipe, and they do make another aftermarket bracketry thing, but of course I just don't have that at the moment. But like I say, if this becomes an issue and it throws the belt, I'm just going to keep driving. I don't need power steering anyway, so. But it's coming together. There are a lot of fellas out there that think you jinx on yourself when you change filters and fluid. Transmission works great, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. We're not really in a position to pick here. We just got to get this leak fixed. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No. Well. Get on out of there. Wow, this thing. This one. Can I even get to it? Got the shift rod doodabber thing. You stubborn little devil. Okay, I can't see anything. Gonna leave a couple just loose up here. That way they swing on it. Like that. Oh, sure is nice laying down though, I'll tell you that much. Well, there ain't no juice in this thing, I'll tell you that. Might be a little left in the pan, but normally she's just spilling over by now. Normally like this, I'd have my armpit full all the way to my hip bone. Well, why is it stuck like this? Oh yeah, she's dry. Well, what the devil? I just can't see over there. That must have been it. There, okay. There it is. A little bit of metal in your pan is normal from clutch wear, but this here is what you call just, it's extreme. This is literally a pile of built up metal. So now a guy's wondering, do I even have any gears left? Because that is, wow. It's going to take me a while to get all this material out of here. Look at that. So clutches have been cooked, no question about it. Now, as long as a guy can get park and drive, that'd be nice. I don't want 4 neutrals. That's much better. Bought 2 cans of carb cleaner and some steel wool, and that should work pretty good. Popped a new filter in it quick. I'm going to use a rubber gasket this time. That was an old cork gasket. There's only so much they could soak up before they just start weeping. Get this buttoned on. I think I got enough ATF, hopefully. I think I got 5 or 6 quarts. That should be enough to run it anyway. And that's probably going to be it for tonight. And then in the morning, we'll put some coolant in this thing and see if our repair holds.
Decent. Day 2, 759 o'clock. Got the transmission pan gasket done. Actually took longer to get the shift bracketry installed more than anything, but that's okay. Guy got thinking while I was down there, nozzle change on the oil while I got her shot up in the air. She's sporting a Fram filter right now. So let's delete on that. I got a Wix and some other oil we'll throw in it. And then when we drop her down, we'll throw a couple quartises into the transmission there. See if we could fire this thing up again. I am anxious to see how many neutrals we have after there was 11 inches of clutch material in the transmission pan there. Should be fine. No surprises with the oil down there. Just like a filler tasted, lots of gas, and not a ton of shavings on the magnet actually, which is good news. If you look close on the outer ring, that's all gas in the oil there. And I wish she had smell-o-vision, because it's ripe. It's up in here. Next time you go to the parts store, whichever one you like to go to, ask for a cutaway of a Fram filter versus their filter, like a Napa Gold or a Wix or whatever brand you use, and you're going to be shocked. Well, this is pretty neat. Opened up my Wix filter here, and small block Chevy water neck gasket came shooting out with it. Some Chevy feller must have turned this back in and forgot he hit on this in there. Bonus. Remember, fellers, write the date on these and maybe even the mileage with the paint marker. It's going to save you or the next guy a lot of guessing. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know I'm a huge fan of Shell and Pennzoil oil products. Today's flavor is Pennzoil 1030. Normally in these older, more tired, flat tappet engines, I like to run like a 1540, a little bit heavier oil. But we're in the dead of winter and it's snowing right now, so I'm going to go to 1030 here. And this here Pennzoil is pretty much the buffet of oil properties. It's got everything a guy needs. Plus it's got a good cleansing agent in it. With all the carbon I saw with the bore scope, I'm sure there's a bunch of sludge in this too, and this will help clean it up. For the directional propulsion selector back there, we're going to completely rebuild it by throwing some Lucas stop slip in. Just get ahead of the curve, you know. Little trick here, put half a QT in, and then take half of this, put it into here, and then shake her up. And then dump that in. That way you're not sitting there for 93 minutes trying to squeeze this stuff in. Then your second QT, finish the bottle off, you're ready to go. I don't think a guy's going to fill this to capacity until I can make sure we don't have a Yellowstone Park going on. Got to thinking last night when I was trying to get 13 minutes of sleep. This has got digital fans on it. No idea if the temp sending unit works, if the relay works. So we'll have to make sure we test on that before we hit the road. Yes. Guy got sitting here thinking, I don't have a nickname for this yet. I was originally thinking of, instead of the Firebird, it would be the Snowbird, since I had to drive through 2 blizzards to get here and it's snowing right now. But it's also been sticker bombed with a flamingo. Is that what that is? They eat a lot of shrimp. Turn pink, I guess. I don't know. Wives' tale. But if you got a nickname for this, bleep bloop it down there in the comments. I have no idea, but it's got to be called something. What are these creatures? I don't know. Seem to be working. You know what, fellers? I think she's got a little cam in her. Believe you me? Probably not. I think it does, actually. Maybe a little RV cam or something. She's got a little thump thump. It was circulating. The fans kicked on. I don't see any leaks yet, and it's charging. So we're off to a really good start. I'm gonna let the fumes get out of here a little bit. I got the garage door open. Get a little woozy, and then we'll test for some gears here in a minute. So I got everything buttoned up. I'm gonna jump in, check the transmission out, see if we got forward and reverse. And if we do, then we'll move on to headlights, tail lights, and wipers. Those would be nice. It's snowing out, and I got another storm to drive through on the way back as well. Gears and headlights. We've got no tail lights, so we'll start back here. So there's a little bit of a wiring thing going on around here. I'm sure there was some struggles going from a manual to an auto, and then there's been some few things cut in. I figured out that this is high and low beam. The switch over here. Those work, headlamps work. Got the heater wired in over there. And then I've got brake lights, but no tail lights. And that was a bonding to ground issue back here, which I think I have resolved. This other one here is busted. Not gonna worry about it right now. There is some new housings, but if I pass a cop, I'll just hold the brake as I pass them, so it looks like I've got tail lights in the dark. Vicky's packed everything for me. I had one box in here and it was full, and she somehow got all of the parts in here, which is great. So we're making a lot of headway. I just gotta finish packing some tools. I've got my power tools and of course the Mountain Dew, and I'll get my universal toolkits and stuff in here. I think I'm gonna have plenty of room. Never thought I'd say this, but a 68 Firebird has a lot more room than the Corvette, which is, I guess, makes sense. I think this is all ready. Normally I dump Berryman straight down the carb, but being we've got over 700 miles, I've got like 10 cans. I'm just gonna keep putting 2 cans in every fill, and that way it's just getting fed onions the whole time, and that should hopefully clean up those pistons and rings. And there's really no point in changing the plugs right now. They are fouled, but that Berryman will hopefully keep them at bay while we're burning all that excess carbon and stuff off. And if I do end up with a miss, then I'll just pull over and replace plugs really quick. I think I will swap this belt out quick now that I'm looking at it. There's a lot of cracks in here. I don't think that's gonna get me very far, so might as well go on ahead and do that now. Look it over a couple more times and then probably hit the road. I'm not even gonna worry about wheel bearings this time. Being the Willwood discolator kits on there, there's no way they didn't put new bearings in. Need some air, and I don't know. Guess I'll keep walking around this thing, scratching my head. This one's about on the rim. Oh, wipers work, but this is the only thing I got. No one in town has the right one that fits. I tried to retrofit a, you know, thingy into the stuff here. That didn't work too good. So I just spray away the snot out of it. And if I get in a jam, I'll just be gentle and use this sparingly. And then you can always ace ventura it if it gets real bad, I guess. Just eased her down to the gas station just a couple blocks. The gauge, she's
broke off on empty basically. I don't know if that's accurate or not, so can't pass up the fuel station. We're gonna start with the barium and B12 treatment. I'm gonna go with 2 per fill, and this should just bring it right back around. Ceiling keeps crumbling. Anyway, fuel gauge works, supposedly. I got 15 gallons in it. No, 16. I don't know. Somewhere in the middle would be 420. So we're going to guesstimate 10 miles to the gallon to be safe. So I need to stop in 150, 140 miles. Do have a 5-gallon jug smashed in here somewhere. Taped up the dash so that doesn't flop around. Got the electric heat just cranked on do nothing mode. Got my fire extinguisher here. And my, if you take your finger burner and rotate it 90 degrees, it's also a defrost. Got that ready. I think we're just gonna hit the road and see what happens. Started again. Someone behind me. How am I getting out of here? Kind of just wedged in. Well, the transmission shifts, but it's really, really soggy. I mean, it just takes a minute to select. Brakes work really good, which is a first for me, I think. Got a lot of tire vibration, but I think that's just from sitting all those years. Maybe they'll come out of it, probably not. I do have a spare, it's flat, that's fine. So everything so far is just going as planned. Passing the top right now. Nothing. That's good. So I'm going to try to get maybe 450 miles today or so, and then shut her down for tonight. I didn't make it very far and I froze. Taped off the cowl here. It's coming under the dash somewhere. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. Nothing's leaking. Fans are kicking on. This is slightly scary. Fuel pump's feeling a little weak. That was weird. Anyway, good enough for now. I'm gonna swing through a Mickey D's, grab some food, stick her back on the interstate. Got a lot of ground. Like to get down as many miles as I can before the sun goes down, because then I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do for tail lights. I got brake, and I think I might even have blinker, but I don't have tail lights. Also, I don't know if this is good. Plate from 68, maybe that'll work, probably not. One of the bigger improvements I've got going for me is there's like 38, 39% weather stripping in here, which is really nice. That window outlays the other window, so she's got a little leak, but hopefully this 9-inch exhaust tubing heats up the floor a little bit, but so far it's not too bad. We'll just have to see how it is on the intro state though. At least there's not snow scooping into my face. Didn't make it far. I was getting gas right there. Now I'm over here because I used my blinker and it just stuck on. And I had a blown fuse on the brake lights, and then I got to thinking it's gonna be dusk or dark pretty quick. So I got my brake lights hot wired in, and that's really easy to do, guys, if you get in a jam. Just unhook your brake switch which is this right here. That's just a plunger, and that's what's called normally open. So when you're not hitting the brake pedal, that circuit's open, and when you hit your brake pedal, it becomes NC, or normally closed. So I just unplug it and loop it like this. And if you don't want to unplug it, or it's really hard to get to, you can actually just take a Scotch lock like this and just put it in there, push this down. That'll close them, get you through the evening, and then in the morning you just pull it back out. So I'm gonna run like this, and then tomorrow morning I'll just pull that loop out, hook my brake switch back up. Looks like we made it to the interstate. Flat spots in the tires still haven't come out. So I'm gonna do the right thing and take this exit and just shoot her right to 75. See if they come out that way. I think I've got tall enough gears in this thing. 1500 is about 55, so. Boy, these roads in Michigan, they need a little work. I thought Illinois was bad, my goodness. It does handle good though. Wow. Fixed.
The son of a man who worked his fingers to the bone, just trying to make something out of nothing, you know. He never wanted silver, gold, or the finer things. Just a wife and kids, a home, and the American dream. Whoa, how you gonna step in line? Whoa, baby, this is our time to rewrite our American dream.
I just can't see nothing. Defrost engage. Oh. Yep, still snowing out. Flat tire. The good news is I saved the rim. So I'm gonna spend 2 hours digging out the spare tire that's in the bottom of everything with the jack. See if it even fits. Hopefully these aren't locking lug nuts. Doesn't look like it, thankfully. And I need to get this changed pretty quick. Sitting on the side of the road's an easy way for the old cops to show up. I know it, it's flat! Dang it! This tire is quickly losing air. It was flat when I got it at that shop. This one is gonna rub really bad. I could barely fit my finger. Gonna have to stay off the bumps and try not to turn. It's the only option I got. And this is really bad on the rear end, having different size tires. I got 40 miles. Next town, Gary, Indiana, Mobile, Alabama, LA, something, something. Nope, none of those. I am close to Gary, actually. I'm on the Indiana and the Illinois state line, somewhere over here, over there. I'm not sure. What a good day, fellers. We got ourselves a Firebird. We got a bunch of miles down for leaving late in the afternoon. That's good. I don't even think she smoked when she fired up. Did you guys see? That's really nice. It means the valve seals and the oil rings are doing what they should. That's good. I'm gonna shut her down here, get a wobble pop, something to eat. I'm gonna try out this establishment. I hear they have good fried pickles, and that's the only reason. Front desk guy came running out, and I was thinking, here we go. Wrong floor. Can't work on your garbage in front of our garbage motel, but no, he just wanted to know what size engine the old Snowbird had. I like to bring my tools into my room, you know, that way when the car gets stolen, I save $128 in tools. 712 early o'clock. Still spitting snow. Got a little bit last night. Guess I got to deal with this tire issue today. Ironically, when I Google machined an exit with a bunch of tire stores around her, ended up in the same motel I did with the Corvette headed to north of Detroit. I just knew in the bottom of my liver these front tires were going to be an issue. They're just so dry rotted right here, and then you combine that with Michigan intrastate, you're in trouble. I also left the taillights connected last night, dead battery. That's weird. Also can't get in the driver's side door. Apparently it locks and never unlocks. So I lost some hardware in the door panel. So now I get to crawl in through the passenger door for the remainder of the trip. It's fine. Learned a pretty good trick about tires. Save you some money. I can actually just pop this other side off. And I think I'd be wiser than a white owl to replace this side as well. Dig out the other tire, and then I just call up a Uber XL for $8-10 bucks, get dropped off, get the tires, call another one, he'll bring me back. Maybe it's a she, I don't know. It's a lot cheaper than roadside service or the mobile tire guys. Nothing wrong with them, I can't afford it's, you know, it's expensive, it's emergency stuff, you know. I got a jump pack, but I was charging my phone with it all night. Hopefully it's got enough juice to zzz. Otherwise I guess I'll just hold jumper cables up in the air and, you know, hope that someone stops. Hope it even starts this morning. Then we'll check the fluids bumper to bumper. Didn't really do much of that. I just kept her to the floor, you know. Since it's negative 244 degrees, I think I'm gonna just get this tire off. Probably a good idea. About an hour and a half later, guy made her back. These are the only tires, believe it or not, even with all these stores around here, that had anything remotely close to 235 45 17s. And this was pretty painful. Firestone, I don't know, Fuel Fighter, Champion 3000s, supposedly a 70,000 mile tire, not sure. 400 bucks mounted balance for both of these. But I got to thinking, I've got charging whirler, water pump, starter, lightning hoses, a whole bunch of stuff that gets pretty close to the same amount of dollar value that I'm going to return on when I get back home. So yeah, wishy-washy. I didn't want to change the size too much because of the back spacing, and then it's so close to rubbing. So I'm going to pop these on. Should be able to do this pretty easily. You just get under the front, put that one on, take that one off, put the other one on. You know the drill. Probably get the finger burner out / defroster 200. Just melt this away. Hopefully it doesn't crack. Well, that's done. And the good news is they don't look remotely close to that pattern, so that's fine. Those are tighter than I remember, but let's see what we got for Earl. I had to run it without the filter last night. I forgot to mention it doesn't have a tall enough riser. So what happens is the throttle keeps getting stuck at 3,000 RPM, which is fun, but you get into traffic, it gets a little tricky. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to run her wide open. Cylinder rolls are already scored, so yeah, it ain't gonna matter if it chews on some stuff. Look at that, still plenty overfilled. Perfect. What else do we want to check? Yep. Okay, well this seems fine. I already don't fit, and I look like a complete idiot slithering in this like a snake. But we'll get in from this way now. How is this gonna work? Seats shuffle. Can I get all the way across like this? Then bring my leg, bring the leg up, bring it over. Ouch! Oh, help! Help me! Oh, help! Okay. I just never, this is not. Well, that went well. I think that's an easy process. Look at all these keys, and I just, help me understand. We're gonna try this one. Yep. Coke, if it doesn't work, we'll pull it out anyway, just in case. I used all my juice, so hopefully it's got enough. Ooh, maybe. Give her more gas. We probably only got 5 cranks left. Come on. More gas. Wow, not even one fire. Oh, I got my security device unplugged. Now I gotta crawl out of this. Bring the thunder. There we go. Sit here and idle, go finish getting the snow off. Solid ice. Man, this thing does sound good though. Got my door open while I was warming up. I just took a flat screwdriver and you could see the door flapper in there, and somehow got stuck between lockage, closage, shuttage. So I had to hold the button, lift the lock, press the lever, and now it's all reset again. Crawled underneath, hooked up my brake light switch again. So they're off now and I'll have brake lights through the day, so that's good. Let it warm up for a couple more minutes and then get gas over there and start scooting. They're floor masters. Looks like a kit put together and weld. That's pretty cool. made it. Over 700 miles, no heat, and a 68 Firebird. I'm opposite of Pink Floyd. My feet are painfully numb. That's okay. Car did really well, even after sitting up for 10 years, other than the tires. I have no complaints. I don't know what to do with it though. I'm looking for your guys' suggestions, so please put those down there in the bleep bloop section. If you're not subscribed, please do that. Hit the bell so you know when other videos like this are gonna go on. Thanks again to Joe and Vicky. I'm starting to not be able to see, so that's gonna do it for this episode. See you next time.